Marie and Dan. Marie is a very, very special person. Always has been. When she was a little girl, 3 or 4 years old, I was looking at some of the pictures up here, and I do encourage you, I know it's difficult to see from far down there, but during the course of the evening, do look at some of these pictures of Dan and Marie when they were younger. And it reminded me when Marie was about 3 or 4 years old. And she was such a kind and generous person. And she would give all her toys, anything, to her brother, who was a year younger, Eric. And I thought this was just so beautiful, because you don't usually see that in kids. They tend to want to keep their own toys. Her mother said, you know, this is not good, because you know, she's going to be taken advantage of. But actually, I thought it was really beautiful. And you know, Eric had a very nice collection of Barbie dolls, in addition to his Tonka trucks. Much thanks to Marie. And she continued to be a kind and generous person, and I think that's what makes Marie Marie. And you know, all through school, high school, you know, she was very studious, and you know, she took her studies seriously. But at the same time, she was a fun person. She wanted to get involved in everything. And so, although she wasn't the best of sports, a sports person, she did participate in all sports. She took part in high school soccer, she was on the track team, she took part in the basketball team, and on all these things. And every team loved to have her, not because she was skillful, but because she was so much fun. And so she very rarely played, but she didn't stop cheering the entire time, and the rest of the team absolutely loved her. And there's one momentous occasion when she was on the basketball team, and they were up by 20 points, and they said, oh, come on, let's put Marie on, there's only 5 minutes left, you know. And so they let her play, and they passed the ball to her, and she dribbled it down the court, and she popped it into the hoop. And she looked around, you know, just laughing and smiling and jumping, but nobody was cheering. She put it in the wrong end. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter. So let's talk about Dan. Yes, we've had another one. You know, Dan is a remarkable individual. The first time we met Dan, he came around a couple of years ago for Easter, and our family played charades. And Dan actually did really well, which is very, very difficult in our family, because you know, we're a bit odd, to say the least. And the second year he came around at Easter, he took part in one of our infamous scavenger Easter egg hunts. And those are very, very difficult to find anything. But again, Dan made an awesome contribution. And the third time he came around, we had an earthquake. We actually had an earthquake in Arizona. And he was so calm. And I think that has something to do with the fact that he came from California. But he remained so calm, you know, and you know, he's such a great guy. And you know, he compliments Marie really well, because you know, he's a guy who also, you know, supports, you know, the little guy. You know, he's a guy who, you know, even though all things look as though they're lost, he'll never give up, which explains why he's an Arizona Cardinals supporter. But he's resilient, and I'll never forget that day, you know, at the beginning of 2010, where he called me up and he said, Paul, can we go to lunch together? I've got something I want to talk to you about. And I said, sure. And so we went off to lunch, you know, together. And after we ordered, he said to me, I've bought a ring. said, really? He goes, yes. He said, I bought a ring, an engagement ring. He said, I'm going to propose to Marie. And I looked at him and I said, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure about this? He goes, I've never been sure about anything in my life before. And I knew at that moment, you know, that those two were absolutely made for each other. They really were. So, you know, this has been, as I said at the beginning, an absolutely fabulous event. It's a great reflection on both Dan and Marie. I loved how they wrote about each other, you know, and our friend from, the priest, he was really, you know, excellent to save that right to the end there and not let you know what you were going to say about each other, but, you know, it almost brought tears to my eyes, and that's very difficult, I can tell you. But here's a toast to the most wonderful couple, to Dan and Marie. Dan and Marie, Dan and Marie.